Surprise! The Xbox 2 is back on Wednesdays and we are live. What is going on, everybody? I'm one of your co hosts, Randall Thor 19, and I just pulled a noob maneuver and I actually had my audio playing in my ear. That is something that you learn very quickly to mute, but I didn't. So I hear my horrible, horrible voice. How does anybody even listen to my videos with that voice? I don't get it. But anyways, I'm here, Randall Thor 19, man with the million gamer scores. People always say, what does the million mean? But I'm here with my buddy, as always, Jez Corden from Windows Central. What's going on, Jez?
I'm good, baby. How are you? I got a
I'm
cup of
good.
tea, man.
Sorry that we missed last week, but well, that was kind of your fault and my fault. We'll take the blame.
It was a one. It was a 1-2 punch.
Yeah. Jez couldn't do it on Thursday, and I just couldn't do it on Friday. I was really sick. So we pushed it, but here we are. And Wednesdays. We are moving back to Wednesdays because we moved to Thursdays because Jez said it was better for him. And of course, whatever is good for Jez is good for Rand.
Yeah.
And now
you.
Jez came to me is like, listen, Rand. My clan raids on Thursdays now at World of Warcraft, so I can't do the podcast on Wednesdays. And I'm like, okay, we'll go back to Wednesdays. So we're back on Wednesdays at 3:00. That's what you said, right?
They want me to tank. They want me to tank raids on a Thursday, so I can no longer do the podcast on a Thursday. And I have to get my priorities straight, Rand.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta get those epics, baby. I gotta get those epics.
I'll get those epics.
I'm not even enjoying the game anymore, but I can't stop playing. I just can't stop playing. I'm like you in PUBG. Can't stop playing.
I haven't played PUBG in like over a month. It's over. PUBG's done. You know what killed?
Go back to it.
A string of Spider-Man, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Forza Horizon 4, soon to be Red Dead Redemption 2 literally killed my addiction for PUBG. And I no longer even think about it or want to play it. It's done. It's over with.
Seriously, that makes two of us. Although I've only played for about 3 hours concurrently. But that makes two of us, Ren.
Yeah. So that does indeed. So we'll be back here on Wednesdays. And as always, the podcast goes up on iTunes and Google Play and elsewhere, usually a day later or 2 days later, depending on whenever Jez remembers to do that. So yeah, we appreciate everyone being here. Already have 200 people in the chat. Do us a favor, hit that like button and
smash it.
Yeah, smash it. Because it's podcast, helps the channel grow. So we got a lot to talk about. There's a lot of topics that went down. You guys can, of course, post your comments if you want us to talk about anything. There's super chat, all that good stuff. But we're going to be talking about our Xbox X0 predictions. I did a video earlier. I figured, why not? Let's have Jez come in. Jez has got that insider ear, as they say. He knows things. Maybe not. But I figured, you know what? I wanted to do a predictions before things started leaking, maybe. So we'll talk about it.
I did predictions too. I think they're getting published.
They're getting published soon. All right. Well, we'll do the predictions. We'll talk about our expectations for Xbox XO. We'll also delve into the hate surrounding Xbox. I know this is going to be a great topic. I put out a video. Being an Xbox-centric YouTuber, I get a lot of terrible comments about Xbox, which kind of just makes me shake my head. But I know Jez has a lot to say about it as well, so we'll talk about that. We'll also talk about the sales for Forza Horizon 4, as well as like Xbox and how well or not well it's doing. Microsoft just released their financial statement, and Jez, correct me if I'm wrong, but the financial statement was pretty much Microsoft is selling off Xbox because they're not making enough money, right?
Yep. I'm afraid Xbox is done. Microsoft has sold the Xbox division to Walmart.
To Walmart?
Why not?
That's interesting. Walmart. You never.
It's weird. You wouldn't have thought that.
Yeah, I thought maybe like Amazon or Google or Tencent or something.
It's Walmart. It's all Walmart, baby.
Yeah, so that's pretty interesting. We'll also talk about. I did see the name changes for PlayStation and the laundry list of problems that may be associated if you change your name. And I was kind of like, we should probably talk about this on the show as well. So
Yeah.
before we get into all that, let's talk about what we've been playing, games, because that's the most important thing. And I know you've been playing World of Warcraft, but literally nobody cares anymore about World of Warcraft, guys.
I don't care either. I just can't stop playing it. I
Okay.
don't care either, right? I've got
So
a problem.
what have you been playing since it's been 2 weeks? What have you been up to? What have you been
I've
playing?
actually been playing quite a few things other than Warcraft. And actually, I only raid in Warcraft now. I don't really log on outside of raids. So I have been playing other things. I've been playing a lot of Black Ops 4.
Hmm.
Believe it or not.
Interesting. And you enjoy it, right? You like
And
it?
I really, really like it, surprisingly, because I haven't really enjoyed Call of Duty for a really long time. I got World War II because the last Call of Duty that I really, really loved was World at War, and maybe Black Ops 1 a bit. So I bought World War II. I found it kind of lame, and the whole loot crates on Normandy Beach and the neon pink, MP40s
Yeah.
on
And the loot crates falling from the sky, right?
yeah, and all that stuff, and it was kind of like a little bit cringe. Not really what I think of when I think of World War II loot crates and pink weapon skins and all that stuff. So I didn't really get into it that much. Even though I did kind of like enjoy the combat and stuff like that. Even though it's like, I don't know. The thing about Call of Duty for me has always the thing that always pushes me away from Call of Duty is the crappy server infrastructure. And every time I play Call of Duty, I think, yeah, I really love this stuff. I really love this gameplay style, the Twitch shooting, and all that sort of stuff. It's really addictive. It's really fun to just jump on for 20 minutes and smash some people. Whereas Battlefield is a very different experience where you jump on and it's more methodical, slow paced, and the matches can often take a lot longer. So I feel like Battlefield's more of a commitment than Call of Duty. However, I always end up running back to Battlefield, because Battlefield just has better servers and everything. And I don't know if you saw some of the controversy this week about Black Ops 4.
I love that word. I love how
controversy. Some of the controversy.
Whoa. Is that your American accent? Are you trying to make fun of me there? What's going on?
No, I just wanted to make you feel at home, man.
There is some Battlefield news today that dropped, by the way, which we can talk about.
Yeah, indeed. But and I am getting Battlefield 5 as well. But as much as I'm enjoying Black Ops 4 in terms of its systems, I really like the hero-based combat with the abilities. I love how much you can customize your playstyle. Like, you can drop all the perks and have 4 attachments on your gun, because everything's just slot-based now. And I quite like the maps. I like, the feel of the gunplay is really good, and I like the reactive healing mechanics and stuff like that. But I don't know if you saw this, Rand, but some wily YouTubers, apologies, I don't know who exactly it was, but some YouTubers and some analysts examined Black Ops 4's servers.
I did see that, yes.
And found that the server tick rate was really, really low. Mm-hmm. And I did sort of get a sense of that when, you get killed in Call of Duty and you think, how the hell did I die there? And then you see the kill cam and it's like, oh, I died because they saw a completely different thing to me on my end of the server, because the servers are still so laggy, and it's so annoying considering how rich Activision Blizzard is. They are a huge company, huge corporation. They could easily afford some dedicated quality servers for this game, and they still cheap out on it, and it makes me sick. Makes me sick, Rand. Especially because EA, as much as I love to bash EA, at least.
And you love to bash EA.
I do love to bash EA, but
EA provides better servers.
Yeah, and Battlefield has better servers, and Battlefront has better servers, and Overwatch has better servers, which is funny because Activision Blizzard's sort of the same company, but not really at the same time. But all these games have better server infrastructure technology, and even PUBG probably, you know. But then you come to Black Ops, which is the world's biggest shooter franchise, Call of Duty rather, and they can't be bothered to give me a dedicated bloody server, and it's so frustrating. So
So
that's one game I've been
do you
playing.
like Blackout though? Do you like it
Nope,
quite a bit? No, you
nope,
don't like
nope,
Blackout.
nope. I
Okay.
still don't like. I just don't like battle royale, man. I'm too impatient. I don't do that tactical play where you hide in the corner. When I play Black Ops, I play as a dude with a flamethrower and a radioactive isotope and just run around burning people. I don't like playing stealthily, which
See,
is kind of like what you
I
need to
knew
do.
Blackout would be huge when I played the beta because I'm like, all right, this is a blackout or a battle royale mode, which is the in thing to do, right? It's the biggest franchise, shooter franchise, biggest franchise in the world doing it. Looks like they're doing it correctly. It running at 60 frames. It looks nice. Thing is, I didn't care for it at all. When I was playing the beta, I was like, what? I don't care. And I didn't end up buying Call of Duty Black Ops 4, which is good because I've been neck deep in Assassin's Creed Odyssey. But I am really interested in Battlefield 5, though. And we'll transition this to Battlefield 5 before I talk about the game I've been playing really quickly. They released their kind of roadmap for the what's going on with Battlefield 5 starting at launch into in the future. And a lot of people were looking forward to their Battle Royale mode. However, it's not launching until March, which has really led people to criticize what exactly is EA doing with Battlefield 5? How exactly they really screwed the pooch on this one. Do you agree with that, Jez? Do you think Activision and DICE kind of misread the market a little bit here and kind of, had to delay Battlefield to November because they picked a horrible release date between Red Dead and Call of Duty. Now people are clamoring for Battle Royale, but it won't even launch with the game. It'll launch, 5, 6 months later. Did they just screw up everything about Battlefield, or is that just kind of like people's?
I The thing is, Battlefield has its core fan base now, and I think like they will push the game to a decent level of success. But every year, typically year in year out, it's always been like, is this the year Battlefield could beat Call of Duty? Is this the year? Blah blah blah. This year, it doesn't feel like it even has a prayer of denting Call of Duty, and it's it just sort of rounds off the last couple of years of terribleness that is EA. I mean, I have no clue what is going on at that studio right now. It just feels like a complete omni shambles, which
It,
is
it
a
really,
very nice British word. Omni shambles
it really
means
does feel
shambles all
like
over the place.
that they misread the market. Like Battle Royale is this big thing. Look at what it's doing for Call of Duty on PC. Like they said the initial launch sales on PC were like double what World War II is. And it's like one of the top stream games, basically because all the huge streamers like Shroud, Ninja, they all love Battle Royale and they're playing it. And then I look at Battlefield and it's just like it's been nothing but mistake after mistake from them, ranging all the way back to the initial reveal, and the outrage with the women and the historical accuracy stuff, with the executives talking down about their fans and things like that, to then delaying the release of the game when it was pretty close to release, to now like one of the most, you know, the mode that everybody's looking forward to is now not coming out to May, and the single player hasn't really been shown off very much, and it only has like 3 stories. It's like, man, like I almost look
It
at it
is weird.
like Battlefield was so huge, and I mean you're right, it's still a huge franchise. It's just like they had everything in the palm of their hands with Battlefield 3 and 4 and Battlefield 1. They had all the goodwill in the world. Do you remember
I
with
love Battlefield One. Battlefield One is one of my favorite shooters of all time.
Do you remember when
Uh,
Battlefield 1 and it was recently alongside Infinite Warfare, and like how much people hated Infinite Warfare and that trailer, and how much they loved Battlefield 1, and how like well Battlefield 1 did? And it was seemed like in 2 years EA just threw all that, EA and DICE, because
they do they do this, man. They bloody do this. EA goes through these cycles of like doing well and then like having this like they forget what they were doing well and then fall back into bad habits. Like, I remember when Dead Space came out and Dante's Inferno came out, and I remember thinking, even back then, before I was like even vaguely thinking about writing about games, I remember thinking, oh wow, EA is actually doing something good now. They're greenlighting a lot of risky games like Mirror's Edge 2. And yeah, a lot of these games didn't do very well, but at least they were, you know, allowing these games to have a chance. But then we ended up with like things like Dead Space 3, which is a catastrophe, and then the whole Sims Online controversy, and it just feels like every time EA makes a step forward, they make 5 steps backwards.
Well, right. I mean,
Battlefield 1, and then then the whole
last
Battlefield.
year they shut down Visceral, who was working on Star Wars, and put Amy Hennig out of a job. Right? They bought Respawn, which is a good idea. Respawn's a great company. And just the other day, I didn't make a video about this, but it's a perfect topic for a podcast. They lost Jade Raymond,
Yeah.
who was head of EA Motive, who was working on the new Star Wars game, and they replaced her with, if I'm not mistaken, the head of EA Mobile, right?
Samantha Ryan, yeah.
Samantha Ryan. And I'm just looking at EA, I'm like, what are you doing? Right? Like Jade Raymond, very talented. She, like spearheaded Assassin's Creed for Ubisoft. And I just question like exactly like everything they're doing over there. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And the thing is, they constantly make money because people buy the microtransactions and FIFA and Madden and all that stuff. And yeah, I think Battlefield 5 sales will be down from Battlefield 1, but it's not like the franchise is going to be killed off. I'm just curious to see what are they thinking, Jez? Like the Jade Raymond thing. What do you think about that whole situation?
Well, I've heard like some weird, vague rumors that there's some kind of power vacuum political struggles going on at the top of EA right now. Like,
Well, because that one dude from DICE left, right? Who's that guy? Or no, the guy underneath Andrew Ryan, right?
Andrew Ryan.
No, not
Isn't that
Andrew Ryan.
Bioshock?
Yeah, uh, I'm sure somebody will know in the comments below. Patrick Sutherland, right? He just left,
Sutherland. Patrick
right?
Sutherland.
Andrew
He's
Wilson. Andrew
oh,
Wilson is the CEO of EA, and someone's
yes.
calling me again.
So
Gee,
he
phone never stops ringing.
yeah, so he's gone. Sutherland is gone. You've had like ton of people left BioWare. BioWare apparently is a shell of its former self, which makes me very worried about Anthem. You had the franchise head of Dragon Age leave EA 2 a few months ago. I don't know what they're doing, man. And also there was these other rumors that DICE has lost 40 developers.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that as well.
It feels like EA is imploding.
Well, Sam Tolbert in SAS says it looks like EA is just falling back on what makes them money, and they don't care about pushing a lot of creativity anymore. Bar maybe BioWare with Anthem.
That sounds exactly right. It sounds like there's not a lot of vision at EA right now.
I'm kind of worried for Anthem. I ain't gonna lie.
I'm worried for Anthem too.
And
I'm more worried for BioWare because EA just like Sam said, if EA are falling back on what makes them money, i.e. FIFA Ultimate Team and mobile, then it's GG for BioWare. If Anthem fails, that's it. They ain't gonna support that studio. They'll kill it like they killed Visceral, like they killed was it BioWare Edmonton?
yeah, they killed that studio. Like they'll kill Respawn if their game probably fails.
Yeah, I just ruthless, man. And they're like the polar opposite of Bethesda, who genuinely seem to care, and try to, curate their franchises and, build on them, figure out what works and what didn't, and then try and make sequels, even if the games didn't do that well. I never expected to see a sequel to The Evil Within. I mean, can you imagine EA bothering to make a sequel to The Evil Within? Would never happen in a million years.
Yeah, I know, and I'm sorry that the phone is ringing nonstop. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. I don't answer the phone, but sorry if that bothers anybody. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I used to really like EA. They've made some incredible games in the past, but like what they're doing now, I don't know. I'm
It
worried.
it makes me sad because they own so many of my favorite franchises, like Dead Space. I love Dead Space. I love Dragon Age
Uh-huh.
so much. I love Mass Effect
Mirror's
so
Edge
much.
1.
I'll never forgive them for Mass Effect Andromeda for leaving that game unfinished. The game was unfinished. The plot was never resolved.
Yeah.
How could they do that? They set up the whole ending of Andromeda to be like, and sorry guys, this is like 3 hours worth, 3 hour old, 3 year old spoilers, but they set up the whole ending of Andromeda as if to say, there's going to be more to this. There's going to be more to this. And they were just like, oh, sorry, we've cancelled it because we shipped a game that was buggy and we couldn't be bothered to fix it. So we're going to punish you, the fans, instead. Instead of taking that L, doubling down, and spending some cash and fixing it, they bailed.
Well,
And
their biggest
that's
mistake was handing Mass Effect Andromeda to a team that never made a game before. You know? So, yeah.
oh, and just to clarify, with Reikio in chat saying Evil Within was good, Jez. What do you mean? Didn't expect a sequel? I love the Evil Within. Evil Within is one of my favorite games. It has some of the best artwork I've ever seen in a game. But I didn't expect a sequel because the first game didn't make any money. Like completing the Evil Within is a rare achievement on Xbox Live.
What?
Yeah, getting the final achievement for the campaign on normal difficulty is a rare achievement.
Yeah, so you're basically saying nobody really bought the game, and then they made a sequel. Bethesda's really good about that. Although,
Yeah, and hopefully there'll be an Evil Within 3 as well, and they'll figure out a formula that works because AAA horror is a dying art. You know.
although, um, switching gears to Bethesda for just a minute here. Their letter that they put out yesterday before the beta came out was kind of interesting. They basically said yeah, our game is going to be really, really buggy. Uh, please pardon our dust as we build the game.
They
You
they
know,
said their quote was spectacular bugs.
yeah. Have you gotten a chance to play Fallout 76 yet?
I haven't, but my good friend Matt Brown on Windows Central has played it extensively, and he said it wasn't that bad in terms of bugs. And he enjoyed
How
himself.
was it in terms of gameplay?
Well, I haven't asked him that much. Well, to quote him, he said, I really enjoyed myself over 4 hours, but I'm not sure how I'd feel after 20 hours. So basically, he was saying he needs to see more before he can make a final verdict. But he seems to have a really good impression of it. And I will say this as well. We're doing an insane amount of traffic on Fallout 76 right now. So there's clearly a lot of interest in the game.
Yeah, I've seen people
I'm
say
intrigued.
that pre-orders are pretty high. I mean, Fallout's a huge franchise, you know.
Yeah, I
And
mean, it's the fact that it's Fallout. It means it's going to sell.
oh yeah, of course it's going to sell unless the beta was just like absolutely horrible and everybody
Yeah.
turned against it. But it's also a beta that has like dedicated play sessions. Like you can't just log on and play it right now, right?
Yeah, it's because they're stress testing the servers, so they're trying to get everyone in at the same time to bombard the servers. Because Bethesda, I mean, you've got ZeniMax Online Studios who made Elder Scrolls Online, and Bethesda's core team only really consulted on that. They had nothing to do with the making of the game. However, they made Fallout 76 from the ground up, so they're being cautious, stress testing their server infrastructure, making sure they get it all right. And the creation engine wasn't designed for multiplayer. So there's that too. The bugs associated with that, like objects flying around and having to track all the objects in the server-based infrastructure and environment and stuff like that. So I appreciate that they're doing the beta like this. There's so much negativity around this game, though.
Yes, there is. There is. I think it's because I guess from listening through, I think it was Shady or Zalker in party chat the other day, or maybe it was Dealer or Colt Eastwood. I can't remember which one, but apparently they screwed up the lore in Fallout 76 or something, and that has a lot of hardcore fans upset that the lore's screwed up. Plus, like Bethesda made a big deal out of making single player games, and here they are making an online only game, which is kind of not what they normally do. I remember the whole Save Player One campaign they did a couple years ago.
Mm.
So there is that. But yeah, I thought it was funny that that they put out an email basically saying, yeah, expect the worst. But since I didn't get to finish what I played, since we kind of like delved off to a different topic, I finally finished Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Jez.
You did.
I
I
did
still
it.
haven't fully finished it off, but
Fully finished it. I have like 915 gamer score. I have 75 hours in the game. I've completed, basically everything you can do, like all the storylines, because there's essentially 3 storylines going on in the game. So I finished them all. And I'm just in love with my bae, Cassandra, Like, she is the right way. Pro tip to anybody listening here, anybody listening later, listening to it live. If and when you start up Assassin's Creed Odyssey, make the right choice. Play as Cassandra. Your Assassin's Creed experience will only be better because of that. And if you talk,
Brand's lying.
no,
What you got against Alexios,
if
man?
you talk to Alexios fanboys like Jez or like Dealer Gaming or Zalker87,
Roby played several hours of Assassin's Creed and as Cassandra, and he started over from scratch because he didn't.
then I hope he started over from scratch with Alexios, because his voice actor is among the worst I've ever heard for a
Oh my God.
character in a video game. Honestly,
that's so mean. I think Alexios is really
telling you
good.
how it is. I'm telling you exactly. It has nothing to do with she's a female, because normally I play as a dude or whatever, right? But I had heard from a couple of close friends saying, "Hey, you need to play as Cassandra because she's better voiced." And sure enough, when comparing the voice acting between the two, she has more emotional range. She's just completely better and made the experience that much more enjoyable for me. So it's
Alexios made me laugh out loud.
Alexios, he's terrible. He has the worst accent, and I seriously would probably hate Assassin's Creed Odyssey if I had to listen to Alexios speak for more than 10 minutes. Seriously.
Bad person.
I'm sorry. I mean, I guess I got to classify you as and Roby should know better. I'm surprised Roby did that. But I guess it's, being around all those PCs building it is kind of maybe, fried his brain a little bit,
What the static?
Yeah.
Oh man.
So anyways, I finished the game and I love it. I'll have a review up pretty soon, probably tomorrow. If not tomorrow, then on Friday. But probably tomorrow, because it's all about Red Dead Redemption 2 Thursday night, Friday. It's a proper RPG now. There's so much to do in that game. It's a gigantic open world. The combat is great. It's nice and fluid. The assassination stuff is still there. Like, I basically played a mix of assassination versus warrior. So I would go into an area and silently take out as many people as possible before, like if I got spotted, I would just wreck them. But I am surprised by how much I really, really enjoyed that game. Like, I think it's worth every penny. I think if you're into RPGs, this is a must play. And I didn't buy any microtransactions. I didn't hit any wall. I
didn't hit any walls either. Like, some people said, like, it was designed to be grindy, and I know they did adjust the amount of experience you need in the later game, but I never felt any grindy. I mean, I could see how it could get grindy if you skipped stuff, but because I didn't skip anything, I didn't feel any grind.
So if you want to go from main story to main story to main story, you might be under-leveled. But I think the game assumes you're going to explore, because each one of the areas and islands have their own side quests, some of which are really good and some which aren't very good, but they all level you up. So in my experience, like, I was either the same level or 2 levels higher than the main story stuff, because I would do a main story and then I would go explore a new area I wasn't around, do side quests there, get better gear. But if you're someone who's like, literally, hey, I'm just going to run through the main story, yeah, you're probably going to run into a wall. But I didn't. I mean, I was level 50 well before I even hit the end of the game. There's so many side quests I still have left to do that it's almost, I don't even want to do them, because I know there's more DLC where they'll raise the level cap, so I don't want to waste the experience for it and stuff. So, yeah, look for a review on that game pretty soon. I really loved it, though. The game is just absolutely gorgeous. Like sometimes you'd be sitting there and when the sun shines and you just see all the different colors and the draw distance where you look over the water into the different cities. It's great. Love that game. So that's what I've been playing. Basically, that game since it came out. But Friday starts a new adventure, Red Dead Redemption 2, and is Windows Central going to have a review for that game?
What? Red Dead?
Red 2, yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe,
Definitely.
just maybe.
Tomorrow, possibly.
Tomorrow.
We were incredibly lucky to get part in the review program for Red Dead, and we will have a huge comprehensive review tomorrow after playing the game for 2 solid weeks. But I can't say anything else. Can't say anything else. So don't ask.
Don't ask. So I can't even ask if you've played it?
No.
Hmm.
Cortana, somehow you triggered my Cortana speaker.
Are you excited to see all the horse balls in 4K?
I admit I am curious because I've heard that the temperature of the environment that you're currently in has an impact on the size of the horse balls. So if you're in a cold place, the horse balls will be smaller. You know.
Okay. Well, that's pretty interesting. I just can't wait, man. Like I really enjoyed Red Dead Redemption 1, and this is a game 7 years in the making. It looks, from all the trailers that they've shown, it looks like it's going to be quite the experience. However, there was a little bit of controversy or controversy.
Y'all.
That
American accent.
Where in an interview, Dan Houser said that some people worked 100-hour weeks to get this game done, and he presented it as like, this game is so huge, we had to put so many hours into it. Like he was bragging about it, not like, right. But people, of course, were like, a lot of people were mortified, shocked. Jason Schreier of Kotaku wrote an entire article speaking to many people who played it, and it led to this whole thing about, is the crunch acceptable? Is it okay for people to work 100+ hours on a video game? And everywhere you looked on the internet, everybody had an opinion. You know, you listen to podcasts, everybody has opinions. Some people are like, I don't care. Some people are like, just give me the game. Your time is whatever. Some people are like, this is abhorrent and despicable. It's the worst thing since, some other controversy that happened 2 weeks ago, the perpetually outraged. What do you think about all that, Jez?
Well, first of all, I think there is a bit of fake outrage out there, especially, some people who just seem to hate Rockstar for whatever reason. And a lot of Rockstar allowed their staff to come out and talk about how they feel about the studio and stuff like that. And I've been talking to game devs too about how they feel about crunch, because I ain't a game dev. I don't want to speak for a game dev, which is why I haven't written about it myself. But, a lot of the game devs I've spoken to have just said it's no big deal, and they've done similar amounts of crunch. And if you love the job and you've got passion for it, it's just a byproduct of capitalism that there's that much competition at Rockstar's level. There's that much competition that there is that much grind. Now, it sucks that we live in a world where this happens, but at the same time, like I tweeted earlier today, I'm not going to boycott the game, even though, some of the stuff, like people who couldn't finish development on the game, they've been cut from the credits of Red Dead, which I think is really lame.
That is incredibly lame. I agree with you on that one.
There's stuff like that which just seems like bad practice. But then someone who works in a tech press, I've seen things like the iPhone manufacturer Foxconn in China had to install suicide nets on its dormitory windows because they were working their staff so hard. Are the people calling to boycott Red Dead Redemption going to give up their iPhones? I don't think so. Are the people going to boycott Amazon when Amazon's working their staff half to death in the warehouses and stuff? And there's reports that staff are afraid to take, piss breaks because it'll harm their targets and stuff like that. Are they boycotting the convenience we get from Amazon? I don't think so. And I'm not trying to be whataboutism about this situation, but I can't help but feel like there is some sort of there's a wider systemic issue with capitalism in general, where, and I'm not gonna go too much into this because it's a gaming podcast, not really a capitalism or socio-economic discussion podcast, but um, there's a wider issue with the way capitalism demands competition, and unbridled competition leads to 100-hour crunch. And the thing is, in the UK, UK has a very different employment culture to America. And I think where this is where some of the translation, some of this stuff is lost in translation. You know, if you're on a 0 hours contract, or you're a contractor, and a lot of the people working on Red Dead probably are contractors, then yeah, they can be like, they don't have as many rights as a proper employee and stuff like that. But like England has, well, Scotland, I guess, and the UK in general, and Europe in general has pretty robust employment laws. So like, you can't be forced to work that many hours against your will. And you know, it's not like they couldn't find another studio to go to and stuff like that. And like, some of the devs I've spoken to have just said things like, you know, if you're passionate about it, that's what you put in. And when I was starting out as a blogger, I was writing 10 to 20 articles per day for zero income. I slept on an airport bench because I couldn't afford a hotel to cover Gamescom. You know, I grinded because I wanted to be at that level, you know. And that's not me saying, that's not me glorifying the grind, but it's just me saying, in a world where there are millions and hundreds of millions of people, we can't all be the best, you know.
Well, okay, so I'm going to address the fact that you, to be in the credits, you have to actually finish there, and anybody that leaves is in the credits. I think that's bullshit. I
That
think
is bullshit.
anybody who worked on the game should be credited. I think that's, and they said that's just like the company culture, but I think that's dumb, right? I think that's incredibly dumb, and I wish, God, I wish people would stop calling my house. What people would stop doing. Um, as for like the whole crunch thing, I just, I don't really have an opinion either way. Like, as long as they're properly compensated for the time that they put in, I don't really have an issue with it, right? If you want to work 100 hours and you get paid for it, that's your decision. I know some people will say, well, maybe they feel forced they have to work 100 hours, otherwise they won't have a job, yada, yada, yada.
But the fact is, it was like, didn't it come out that it was just like his
Well,
team
yeah, so it was his team, but then
chose?
Jason Schreier said that like the QA studio's been doing mandatory overtime for like 2 years now. They even introduced like a laundry service where you get your clothes cleaned, presumably because like obviously you wouldn't be going home. So I mean, yeah, there were some areas where it's like this maybe is not the best place to work. I don't really know. Like I think it was dumb that he even brought it up in the interview to brag about it. But like you said, I just there are
That just, to me, that shows the grit and the pride he has in his work, you know.
right.
Like in working class England, you know, if you're from a working class background in England and Scotland and the United Kingdom, it's sort of almost like a cultural thing where it's like, yeah, you graft, you know, they call it graft, a bit of hard graft, you know, working hard, laboring and stuff like that.
Well,
And maybe that's screwed up about British culture. I don't know, but that's the way I was raised. You know, I was raised in I'm from working class background. I was taught the value of hard work. You know,
see, the thing is, like, I know this is you could classify it as a straw man argument, but I do find it incredibly. I'm trying to think of the word here. Ironic, or maybe not self-aware, that the people that were white knighting for Rockstar from their phones were literally talking about it on a device that is made pretty much in slave labor in China. Where
yeah.
people aren't like there's a little cognitive dissonance there. Like, like you're
What?
outraged about this one thing, but you're using a device that is built in way worse conditions. Not to mention, like, I'm gonna go to Amazon and buy this thing, and you all hear the reports about the poor working condition of Amazon workers, but I don't really see you talking about that. I don't see you
And
talking.
then you have to remember that some of these people got to get the clicks. They got to get the YouTube video hits, and all of a sudden it's sort of like, is this a bit manufactured, the outrage? Maybe a
Or
little bit.
outrage does get clicks, and look, like I said, as long as they're properly compensated for it, as long as it was their choice and they didn't really have to feel forced. Like, but then again, it's like,
You can't do that in England, in the
well,
UK. I
well,
keep saying England, but
or North, I think is based in New York, and New York has labor laws and things like that. So it's kind of just, I don't know. I just like, well, if I take a
any
like,
Rockstar North.
if I come out like really against this, it's like, should I stop using my cell phone? And like, should I, like, any like food I throw away, should I also give it to, like, homeless people and hungry people and all the poor starving kids in Africa? There are like truly really severe horrible issues in this world that deserve your attention, and I'm
And
not
your outrage.
sure that, a few handful of people working extra hours and getting paid for it to complete Red Dead Redemption 2 is worth the outrage, but that's just my opinion on it. I don't know. You know what I mean?
That's exactly my opinion. It's
So,
like, and it's it's always just before launch when it's good SEO and all that sort of stuff. You know,
mhm.
there is so much. At the end of the day, this is my only takeaway. The world is full of shit. Red Dead Redemption and gaming is a reprieve from all the shit. Why would you want to boycott what is going to be a work of art and spit in the faces of the people who worked on this game? You know, what, I mean, it just feels so self-indulgent to me. It's like, I'm
Yeah.
patting myself on the back, I'm boycotting Red Dead Redemption, look how great I am. No, I don't agree, man.
So, um, moving on, I wanted to thank Michael Monkey Punch Lugo for the super chat. He said he just wanted to support Randa Jazz. We appreciate it a lot. I'm still looking forward to Red Dead. Can't wait to play it. But we did have a request in chat, and I did want to see it. It's from UA. He says, talk about Banjo and Smash, because I think this will lead eventually into our XO predictions. Did you see the Nintendo Smash leak today?
I heard something about it, but was it fake or was it not?
I don't think it. I don't. A lot of people think it's real, but it hasn't really been confirmed to be fake yet or whatever. But there was like a picture of that an artist posted on LinkedIn who apparently does work. It was confirmed for Bandai Namco, who I guess is working on the game. Like, keep in mind, when it comes to Nintendo stuff, I am not your go-to source on Nintendo. Like, I don't. Um, I don't know much about what they're working on. Like, if it's Microsoft or Sony, I'm keyed in. You know what I mean? But if it's Nintendo, I'm not sure. So is Bandai Namco working on that game? I don't know. Like, all I know is Smash is coming out on the 16th, and some of the people I follow were really talking it up, like Dreamcast guy and like Spawnwave and a few other Nintendo YouTubers that I do follow. But there was like an image this artist posted which has like the full roster of characters, even the unannounced ones. And one of them was like Shadow from Sonic, like the Shadow character. But like the big maybe one was that Banjo was in it, which would which basically means that Microsoft and Nintendo came to some sort of deal because Microsoft owns uh, the Banjo IP when they bought Rare.
Mhm.
And then, of course, this leaves all our speculation. So if Microsoft is letting Banjo into Smash, presumably they want because they want more people to know the character, be introduced to the character, and that only really makes sense if you have a game that you're trying to maybe push. And there are those rumors that Playful or another studio is working on some Banjo-Kazooie game for next gen or this gen. What do you think about that whole thing, Jez? Like, if it's true, if it's true that Banjo's in Smash Brothers, do you see there being a new Banjo game being made by Xbox?
I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean that there will be a proper Banjo game, because remember, we have to remember there was a Conker game for Windows Mixed Reality, and that didn't lead to a new AAA Conker. Well, I don't know if you call it Conker game AAA, but it didn't lead to a legit Conker game. So I don't necessarily think this could lead to a legit Banjo game. Maybe it will. Maybe I certainly haven't heard anything to that effect. But who knows, man? I mean, maybe like the developers of Super Lucky's Tale pick up Banjo and maybe try and make something out of it and stuff like that. I know for a fact that it's not going to be Rare making it, because Rare is 100% all in on Sea of Thieves. The whole studio is set up for Sea of Thieves and nothing else for the foreseeable future. Foreseeable future. Do you see what I did there?
Foreseeable, yeah.
Yeah, foreseeable. Maybe Rare will like pitch in, but I know that at least, I mean, I was there, man. The whole studio was geared for Sea of Thieves constant delivery development. Like every studio was set up with a screen that showed like what each other team is working on to do with Sea of Thieves and stuff like that, so they could like continuously deliver content to the game. So I don't know. I mean, it could go either way, man. So this is one of the things I wrote in my Xbox predictions, by the way. Expect the unexpected.
Ooh, I like that quote. Expect the unexpected.
Because now Microsoft is like got their wallet open. You just don't know, man. You just don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know what studios they're gonna buy. You don't know what publishers they might buy. You don't know what games they might revive. The wallet is open. So it feels at the senior leadership table now. The plan's been put into place, whatever it is.
And it's funny because I remember me and you saying late last year, before any of this stuff came out, that the wallet was open, that there was a change, and nobody really believed us until Microsoft started making. I didn't really believe it myself, even though I had been told. And then you obviously start seeing some of the the fruits of that. So, like, I don't know, like I I know Super Smash Brothers is going to be a huge game this year, right? It
Mm.
clearly it always is. And if Microsoft is letting them use Banjo, to me, I'd only I know like Phil like is always said he's cool with, Banjo and other Nintendo or Xbox characters, especially rare characters being in Smash, but unless there's some sort of other deal behind the scenes, like we'll let you use Banjo with, by the way, Nintendo doesn't need Banjo and Smash Brothers, right? They have all these other characters they can use, so it'd only really be for fan service. But the way I look at it is like if they're letting them use Banjo, it's because there's something coming later. I don't know. That'd be like from my perspective, like we'll let you use Banjo because we have a Banjo game coming. And if those rumors are true about Playful, then they might be making it. Although I'm not really
But
sure.
then why would Nintendo allow Microsoft to market their IP if they were going to go into competition with them?
But
For me, that decreases the chance.
Nintendo has said repeatedly that they're not in competition with Microsoft.
Yeah, they say these
I'm just
things.
saying, they said they're not in competition. Clearly Nintendo had no problem doing crossplay with Xbox. They were on board right away. I just think Nintendo views Microsoft and so, even though look, everything competes for your time and your money. That is a fact, right? But
Mm.
I just think like they feel that they're not directly competing, and maybe
I mean, this is one thing that I'm expecting regarding Nintendo Xbox. I am 100% expecting Xcloud on Nintendo Switch. That is one thing I am. That is one wild card I'm betting money on right now.
well, it makes sense. It makes sense if you could somehow put XCloud on Nintendo Switch, where you could fire up your Switch on a mobile device, well, a hybrid device, but a mobile device, and hey, you could play Xbox games on there through some sort of Xbox Game Pass app or whatever. That could be pretty huge. Now, of course, people will use that as like, well, there's no reason to buy an Xbox because why should I? I'll just play on my Switch. But at this point, like, if you haven't been paying attention to what Microsoft is doing, they don't care if you buy an Xbox, folks. They don't care if you game on Xbox or on PC. They're not going to care if you stream from your mobile phone. Like, I think it's pretty obvious at this point. Anybody saying like saying that stuff is just obviously not paying attention to everything that's going around. But I would not be surprised, Jez, like you said, if one day they announced a partnership and streaming came to the Switch via Xcloud or whatever. I could see it easily happening. And as far as the Banjo thing, maybe Kratopsy's right. He says maybe licensing fees for the character. Maybe Nintendo pays Microsoft X amount of dollars to have Banjo in the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I guess it's possible, but I don't know. Well, number one, we don't even know if the thing is true. It's all just a rumor at this point. It could be a fake image, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was true. And if it was true, I think that leads credence to the Banjo rumors. So,
yeah. I need to say something for posterity. I've never played Banjo.
Neither have I. So if they do announce a new Banjo, I'll just look at it with indifference and apathy. Like I just be like, look, I wasn't a Nintendo fan. You guys already know I didn't have a 64, so I didn't play. I didn't play Conquer. I didn't play Banjo. I didn't play a lot of the games on the 64. So like Banjo means literally nothing to me. Less than nothing.
Less than nothing.
If they do announce it, I'll just be like, whatever. I guess. Like, I mean, one thing if it's good, but like,
wow.
Yeah, like it's same thing if they announced a new Conquer. I'd be like, okay, I don't really care. You know what I mean?
Wow.
What? Am I a bad Xbox fan? Am I supposed to get on here and say, Jez, I love Conquer and I love Banjo. And oh my God, if they announce Banjo on Xbox, PS4's done. It's over. Cancel PS4 Lonely Station because they got nothing to compete. Am I supposed to say that? Do people expect that as me being an Xbox centric YouTuber? Am I supposed to be like, everything that Microsoft does is amazing and everything PlayStation does is the worst? Am I supposed to just parrot that and say those things? Am I supposed to say every day Megaton and you won't believe these announcements and who console or over type stuff? Am I supposed to say that every single day? Or can I have my own mind?
No, you're not allowed to have your own mind. Hive minds only.
I'm only the hive mind. Oh, I know some guy. Some guy says I missed out on a lot of games on the 64. Yeah, I know. I mean, I didn't have a 64. I mean, I played some games on there. I played like the WCW versus NWO games on the system. I don't know. Like, I'm not necessarily a Nintendo fan. If you couldn't tell, you know what I mean. But anyways, let's before we get into the XO predictions, you want to talk about some Xbox hate?
Yeah, well, not really, but yeah, why not?
Not really. Are you afraid, Jez? Are you afraid to talk about the hate surrounding it?
I only have so much room in my life for hatred.
I know.
Hell.
I mean, I don't know. You do tweet about Donald Trump quite a bit, so.
I for clarity, I hate all politicians, man. All politicians are scum.
And what you did to poor Lone Master Who, that was hatred.
Who?
You blocked him last week. Jeremy.
Oh, Jeremy. I blocked him ages ago, man.
I know, right? All right. So, quickly, I made a video talking about the culture of hate surrounding Xbox. Whereas I felt that in previous gens, particularly the PS3, which didn't do so well, as well as the Wii U, a lot of those systems were just looked at with apathy. Nobody really cared. Like the Wii U was basically non-existent. Nobody hated the Wii U. It was just like, it's not doing well. Nobody's buying it, right? But being like an Xbox YouTuber, and I obviously go more in depth into this in my video, there's just a collection of people that always post in comments and in Twitter threads, and it's nothing constructive. It's just Xbox should die. Xbox
Reset era has become so toxic. I can't even.
Reset era. Reset era was just built on the foundations of NeoGAF.
The thing is, it was pretty good to start with. There was some good discussions, but like the hate just chased out all the good Xbox people, and now it's just a festering hole. It's a shame.
Yeah, so like I remember, so what made me even make the video was I saw the thread about Obsidian being potentially bought out, and like just the amount of vitriol thrown at certain people in that thread was just overwhelming. And even when there is, I guess you could say, positive news, it's always just like it's weird. Like, and you wouldn't really know unless you like read my comments. And I'm talking about the comments that are held for review because there are certain words that I have flagged that if you say those words, it gets flagged. It's pretty bad. And I just, it makes me question these people and what they do because, like, I couldn't imagine spending any iota of my life hating on something as trivial as a video game machine.
And the people who like the video game machine.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't imagine that. But there are people that do, and maybe they're young kids. Young kids can fall into that kind of thing. But what makes it incredibly sad is that most of these people are grown ass men, in
Grown
their
ass man.
40s with kids of their own. And I get on here and I'm like, man,
Oof.
like, I like making YouTube videos a lot. That's why I do it. But I ain't gonna lie, sometimes the comments that I get on my videos like make me second guess what I do here sometimes. And I'm not even trying to like my channel's not about selling Xbox to anybody. I may like Xbox, but it's not about selling Xbox to anybody. I'm not a propaganda channel, you know? Everything I talk about here is all based on my opinions. I like to analyze certain subjects, which is why my videos end up a little bit longer than most people's. I don't do 4-minute videos with a minute and a half introduction filled with nonsense. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like I read all this stuff and I'm just like, holy crap, it's really, really bad. I
I'm kind of say, I don't. We write for Xbox, Microsoft fans, right? Some people just like tech. I like tech. I got into writing about tech because I like tech. I like ecosystems. I like Microsoft's ecosystem and what they're doing with it. Office, Windows, Surface, all that stuff. I like that whole thing. And it's just a hobby, It was always just a hobby to me. Liking tech, it's just a hobby. I love all gadgets. Smartwatches, iPhones, Android phones. I look into all of them. Linus Tech Tips, all those guys. Love them. Now, the issue is, like, people don't understand that you can just like something for fun. And they think, like, if you just like something, you are somehow diminishing their opinion. And to protect their own opinion, they feel like they have to attack your opinion. And it's gotten to this point where we live in a society now where a complete lack of empathy is completely acceptable because of the way social media has anonymized people and gotten to a point where people are happy being anonymized and used to being anonymized, and they're used to having absolutely no social consequences for being a massive prick on the internet. And that is seeping into our cultural psyche. Rand.
is it?
It is. And I don't want to get too deep into it because this is a gaming podcast. It just makes me sad. I just wish people could just be a little bit nicer to each other.
Yeah, I mean, I wish people could be nicer to each other too. You know, as as my good friend Colt Eastwood says, be nice. And Colt gets a lot of hate. A lot of hate. People throw a lot of hate his way. But I game a lot with Colt. He's my friend. Dealer's my friend. We talk all the time, hang out together.
You never hang out with me.
Well, it's because you're in the UK, dude.
I'm in Germany. You don't even know where I live.
Well, whatever. Germany, the UK, same thing. So I don't know.
Just racist.
It's just something I noticed. It's
Yeah.
I wouldn't like. I don't like Nintendo. Well, it's not that I don't like Nintendo. I just don't care about Nintendo.
They don't. Then yeah,
They
they
don't matter,
don't appeal. They don't appeal.
right? So I don't go around to Nintendo YouTubers or Nintendo executives and like tweet to them how much they don't matter to me. You know what I mean? Just like
Mhm.
if you're a PlayStation fan and PlayStation has all your bases covered, awesome. So Xbox shouldn't even matter to you. No matter what Xbox does, it shouldn't even matter what they do. But like I get a lot of these people that come to the podcast and the show and they're like Xbox is pathetic and it's like they don't even matter to you. Like you shouldn't even be concerned about what Xbox is doing. If PlayStation has you covered, what does it matter? Like just ignore Xbox. You'll hate. I don't know. I don't know. maybe went a little bit long on this subject, and we'll switch gears. It's just like I don't
It's
know.
important to vent, man. You got to vent sometimes.
But XO. That brings us to XO.
Something positive.
Yeah. Xbox XO 2018 coming live on Saturday, November 10th. Supposed to be an extra long episode of Inside Xbox. This was recently announced by Phil Spencer. XO hasn't been around in like 8 years. And I was looking at some of the previous XOs, Jez. In 2005, they announced the entire launch lineup of the 360. Like all the games that would be launching, at the launch of the system as well as launch window. Then
Damn.
in '02, they announced the acquisition of Rare. In '06, they announced a whole bunch of games, but they also announced brand new games like Halo Wars. They had BioShock was coming exclusively to Xbox. Same thing as Splinter Cell Conviction. It's a show that has a legacy, right? And I have been hyped for it. And
Are you saying they've got something they need to live up to?
they have something to live up to. And the fact that it's been gone for 8 years and they haven't done it since. Oh, Cloburl's in chat, Jez. He says that you're wrong about what Rare is doing.
All right.
You're wrong, Jez. You're wrong about Rare.
All right.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Cloburl, for the infos. But in my mind, like you bring back XO because you have things to share. You want to build up hype for next generation, which is coming soon. And if it's just a plain old Inside Xbox episode, it's going to disappoint many, many people. It's got to be more. It's got to be on the level of PSX, and not PSX from last year, but PSX from 2016, where they announced Uncharted Lost Legacy uh, and like Last of Us Part 2. Because there's games that Microsoft's are making that they could easily announce if they wanted to. But with all that said, let's get into the predictions, Jez, and we'll start with hardware stuff. Keyboard and mouse, I think, will be a big part of the show, and they'll make more announcements about games that support it. Basically, also confirming that like Gears Tactics and Age of Empires 4 will be coming to Xbox with that. You think that's something that could happen?
I don't think they will. I don't think they'll confirm. Well, I don't know. The plans could have changed, and I know some plans regarding keyboard and mouse have changed because originally, the plan was that a game would always have to support controller on Xbox. But I've heard that restriction has been lifted, and now a game can ship on Xbox with mouse and keyboard exclusivity. As such, the plans to keep Gears Tactics on PC might have shifted in line with that policy shift. So, yeah, maybe it'll come to Xbox at the same time as PC, but only support mouse and keyboard. I can see something that could happen. But at the same time, I'm wondering how hard Microsoft's going to push on this. At the minute, there's only Minecraft and Warface, which support mouse and keyboard on Xbox One on the Alpha Ring. I'm wondering how hard they're going to push this, or whether they're just going to let it grow organically, make changes as necessary, Because if they push too hard on it, it could send the wrong message. It could confuse consumers. Like, is this still an Xbox or is this a PC now? So I can see them taking a soft approach. I don't know. It could go either way, I guess. What I'm saying.
Could go okay. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. Do you expect to see any new accessories of the like controller variety, Elite V2, something else, or what do you think of that?
Elite V2 is interesting because we s- it was almost a year ago now that the Elite V2 leaked, and I actually had on my computer the drivers for the Elite V2, and it suggested that the Elite V2 would have some kind of dock or something, and it would have like an internal battery that you wouldn't be able to change. So like, but it's still not here. And then they announced the white controller, and then I heard some rumors that the Elite V2 had been either cancelled or taken back to the drawing board. So I don't know. Maybe it's too early. Maybe it just got delayed a bit because apparently it was supposed to be shown off at Gamescom, I think, if I remember right.
Yeah, there was that.
Tom Warren said
Didn't
Gamescom.
it end up being the PUBG controller or the white Elite controller?
No, it had a different code name.
I
I
don't know.
You know what? I can't fully remember. Come to think of it.
All these code names. Yeah, I don't think the Elite V2 is going to be there. I think it would be kind of dumb at this point to do a new one, especially considering they just released a white one. I think Elite V2 is something they reintroduce more towards the beginning of next generation.
Yeah,
So
maybe. I mean, Microsoft make a lot of money on accessories. A crap load of money. Surface accessories too, and mice and keyboards in general. So a V2 is like something that's going to happen eventually,
yeah,
I would say.
well, I don't know. I can't even see Microsoft announcing new controllers because like if they do, the ship date for those might be like next year. So I don't even know if they'll do accessories.
No,
Um,
I think this is going to be very platform and games oriented.
right, and I think that's what people care about is the games. Now, third party wise, Phil said that third party was going to be there, and they've been there in the past XOs. Presumably, you can guess like the ones that have a marketing deal with Xbox, like Battlefield 5. I think will be off because why not show Battlefield 5 again? You'd be like what 7 days from launch. You can show.
Anthem's probably an obvious pick.
You think Anthem will be there? I already saw from the Twitter account that Jump Force is going to be there as well as Devil May Cry 5.
It's funny
Um,
when I saw Jump Force, I just thought, "What the hell is this?" But it's the franchises attached to that game have a huge amount of fans.
yeah,
So
anime. People love anime. I don't like anime. My friends, I'll get into a party with them and they'll be talking about what happened on the latest episode of My Hero Academia or Naruto or Hunter versus Hunter or whatever hell they're talking about. And I always join them like, are you guys talking this nerd crap again? They're like, shut up, man, it's anime, it's really good. I'm like, come on, man.
and to be fair, I can understand why you wouldn't like any of those anime. You see, my taste in anime is far more too refined
Your your
for something
your
like
your your
Naruto.
choice of anime is more evolved, is what you're saying?
Yeah, like more refined, I guess you could say.
More refined. Yeah, I don't know.
Naruto is like, for its entry level anime. You know,
Entry level.
I'm gonna make some people really mad.
Yeah. Um. So, do you see any third parties announcing a new game? Like, hasn't been revealed yet. Do you see any third parties announcing a brand new game?
Personally, I'm looking forward to the Splinter Cell pay to win, free to play mobile game,
Oh,
exclusive to iOS with Xbox integration.
yes. There were some rumors that there was going to be a Splinter Cell game announced at XO, and that not only that, it would be exclusive to Xbox.
God, that'd be weird.
I just, I just can't get behind. Look, I've had my heart broken so many times when it comes to Splinter Cell. You know, I've expected it literally at
They're
every E3.
obviously they're obviously bringing Splinter Cell back because I mean, there's just so many teasers out there about it now.
Yeah,
XO though, I don't know.
I look. I would love for Splinter Cell to come. I don't care. I just want Splinter Cell to come back. Number one, I can't imagine it would be exclusive. So
No.
I kind of, you know, I kind
That'd
of
be strange for Ubisoft to do a console exclusive like that. A lot of money would have had to have changed hands.
yeah. I don't know. The Ubisoft did say that they were trying to manage resources to get it done. I just can't see Splinter Cell like announcing their end being exclusive. Like it would be big, don't get me wrong, but I just don't see it. I had kind of speculated that Rocksteady would show off their new game. And there was talk that they were supposed to be at E3 to show off whatever their Batman Justice League is. But that would absolutely be a massive get. But then again, like the VGAs are also the next month, and there's pretty big announcements there, you know?
Isn't it rumored that it's not Justice League now?
Who knows what the rumors are with that? They change constantly all the time. But okay, let me ask you this: do you think there'll be a third-party game that is revealed for the first time at XO? I guess this is a better question.
Yeah, I think so. I'd put money on that. And again, I don't know for sure. I don't have any inside information. I'm just guessing. I'm gonna guess yes.
You're gonna guess yes. Okay, so that leads us to back and pat stuff. I had speculated that Microsoft would announce the next batch of OG Xbox back and pat games. I feel pretty confident that that's going to happen. It's been a long time since they've done back and pat for OG Xbox. You think this would be a good place to announce the next wave?
Yeah, I do. And there's no huge rush to get those out fast. So I think it'd probably be better to save them for a big nostalgic announcement. What OG? Just quickly, what OG back and pat games do you want?
None of them. I don't care.
I hate you.
I mean, they're old, Jazz. I don't care.
Get out. You're fired.
Look,
I'm gonna podcast with Sam from now on.
Listen here. Look, I'm all about the new hotness. Okay, as much as I think backwards compatibility is a must for any console now, and you know PlayStation 5 is going to have it. I don't care about those old games. I've played them already. And
what about Max Payne 1? What about Max Payne 1 and 2?
Nothing to get like if they come out and they're like Halo 2's back compat, Ninja Gaiden Black's or Ninja Gaiden Black already is. There is no announcement, bar one, potentially, that could get me to go back and play any OG Xbox games. And I'm not a front runner. I've been Jess, have I not been consistent about this with backwards compatibility since they first announced it? I guess Jez.
Sorry, I lagged there.
Okay.
Internet Explorer froze up. Yeah, I'm podcasting via Internet Explorer.
Have I not been consistent about my take on why back compat doesn't matter to me and I don't use it? I think I've been pretty upfront about that since day one, right? Jez.
Sorry. Lag. My computer's freezing up for some reason. Oh, that's why. It's on battery saver mode. But then best performance. Right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. One more time.
I was just saying I've been pretty consistent about the fact that I don't care about backwards compatibility since day one, haven't I?
Yes.
Yes. Do you know what potentially could get me to second guess that choice? No. If they announced achievements, I would consider it. I would consider playing some of those games for achievements, but I don't think that's going to happen. So, but I do think they'll announce the next batch of games, and maybe even the next batch of 360 back and pat games. I mean, why not? It's a fan show. The fans like the back and pat stuff, so you might as well do it. Even though they just did some with Left 4 Dead and all that stuff, you might as well do it again. So with that, let's talk about Game Pass. Do you think they'll have anything specific to Game Pass at the show?
Yeah, they'll probably announce some big Game Pass things, and like I think it was you who said that they might announce Ashen right there at the show for Game Pass.
Yeah, so I thought that like they are still very adamant that Ashen is going to be launching this year, right? They say it's coming this year, and there's not much time left. We know the game's going to be playable at the show, which leads me to speculate that they're going to be like, by the way, Ashen is available today through Xbox Game Pass and Xbox Live if you just want to buy it. But they've come out on Twitter and said that's not true. They have no announcements to make about Ashen. So, I mean, do you think they're lying? Do you think they're telling the truth? Do you think it's like just like a they're just saying like it's not going to happen and then surprise?
I interviewed Aurora 44 a bunch of times. They are adamant that it's coming out in 2018. So
I do think we'll get. I do think we'll get in a release date announcement. I thought it would actually come at the show, but I don't really know. Trying to think what else they could announce. I mean, other games for Game Pass like Below. I don't know. And I don't really have my notes here in front of me about what I actually said in that video. So, but we can move to first party stuff. Crackdown, Jez.
Crackdown is definitely going to be there.
Crackdown is a go.
Go.
I think they're going to show. I'm saying they're going to definitely 100% going to show the multiplayer.
I would probably guess that too. I think they're just going to show everything. This is the last opportunity to really showcase what Crackdown 3 is going to be all about. To show how the game's evolved since that summer when you made a video just flaming it and caused all that hatred around with your trolling.
I didn't cause any hatred.
Well, anyway, they're gonna show the game in full, I would think, and we'll get an idea of what it's going to be like with all the new upgrades since the last time we saw it. It's basically almost going to be like hopefully a sort of reintroduction to what the game is all about, and hopefully it'll be good. I mean, this could be like the ultimate comeback story.
I mean, you're really going into this, the ultimate comeback story. Now, remember.
Okay. So superlatives. It could be a nice comeback story.
Yeah, I mean, it could. Okay,
let's limit expectations. It could be a moderate comeback story. But dude, a lot of people have written this game off. The media, haters gonna hate and all that. A lot of people have written the game off. If it's anything close to decent, I think I'd be pretty happy right now.
Yeah, and you know what? Kratopsy's right. We have 450 watching, 480 just a little bit ago, and only 150 likes. Come on. It's free. Just click that like button if you're enjoying the show. Hell, click the dislike button if you want to. Get us up to 200 likes before the show ends. We'd appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, I don't want you to go on Twitter and say Crackdown 3 is going to be this year's PUBG or anything. Or what would be this year's Fortnite or whatever.
It's going to be this year's blackout mode.
So I do think it's going to be there, like you said. Release date, though. I think they have to give the release date.
What if it's got a cloud-powered destruction battle royale?
No, I don't think Crackdown would fit very well in the battle royale mode. I don't think it does. I honestly don't think it.
Isn't battle royale how you win game development? True,
that is how you win. So I guess they could make a battle royale variant for Crackdown 3, but I don't think it would do very well, especially considering how you shoot in that game is locking onto somebody's body parts. Kind of takes away the skill of a battle royale.
Well, that's the thing. It does have competitive multiplayer, right?
You tell me. I don't know. I mean, on their webpage, it says there's a 5v5 Wrecking Ball mode where
there you go. 5v5 Wrecking Ball. That's competitive.
Yeah. I mean, that's not Battle Royale or anything, but yeah. Release date. I expect them to give it finally. It's been this nebulous February 2019 since E3. Even though, they sent out a tweet saying February 22nd, I'm going to guess February 15th. They're going to push it up a week. It'll come out the week before Anthem and all those other games, giving at least a little bit of breathing room.
There was a lot of confusion about that release date because a lot of Microsoft people I spoke to was like, we never said the release date. I was like, well, for some reason I thought it was February 22, and I couldn't remember exactly why. And I think it was you who told me why I thought February 22nd. And then I was like, oh yeah, but look, you guys sent this tweet out, and they were like, oh, someone made a mistake.
Oh, Oh, well, it's funny because Phil Spencer went on Giant Bomb that night and said that it was released in the same day as Days Gone and a whole bunch of other games, and they didn't know it at the time. So it was like they knew. I
Oh,
mean, Phil knew. So I mean, it's
oh.
not a surprise. If you had to guess, are you with me on this? Are you at February 15th?
Yeah, I
Maybe.
think like it's more likely to move up than move away. There's the week after Anthem. If Anthem is really good, and it's probably going to be pretty good, at least, unless EA really screws it up, which let's be honest, could always happen.
Yes.
I think like people, it'd be hard pressed to get attention if Anthem is good. You know, maybe it doesn't compete that much with Metro Exodus, maybe slightly different audiences and stuff like that, but I don't know.
I mean, I still think I think you do the game a disservice coming out the day of Anthem and Metro, or the week after, because then you
Mm.
start getting into Devil May Cry 5 and Division 2. So it's like I think you need to launch in the beginning of February.
Yeah.
I don't, unless you want to delay the game to April or May, which is just, hey, why not? Crackdown's already been delayed a bunch. Why not delay it again? But this time the story's going to be Crackdown's not getting delayed. It's coming sooner than you expect. It's getting pushed up. You know, so I'm look. I think Crackdown's going to be. I think Crackdown's going to be all right. I'm not going to say it's going to be great or anything. And I'm honestly looking at like a Metacritic around
2019's PUBG.
75. 2019's PUBG. I think I think people will be happy with it. It's just that it's been in people's thoughts and minds for so long, and it's been delayed for such a long time. And that mythical cloud power destruction thing has been the talk of the game for so long that I don't know if people's expectations are set properly. You know, I guess we'll find out on XO when they finally show it off. But that's one game. The other game that I think is going to be there is Ori, Will o' the Wisps. Now I said that they're going to make the announcement here that it's in Game Pass finally, because it's the one game that from Microsoft Studios that's not a part of Xbox Game Pass. And I think they'll announce that they came to a deal and that it's in Game Pass and that it's going to be releasing sometime April or May. What do you think?
Yep. I'm gonna say yep. Why
You're
not?
gonna say yep. All right. Battletoads. Do you think we get game
Battletoads.
Battletoads?
I think we could see more Battletoads. I ain't that enamored with the art style they've chosen for that game. What do you think of it?
Have we seen the art style for it? I mean, are you talking about
You see it for a split second. It's like this sort of almost like Flash cartoons, sort of flat vector graphics rather than the pixelated stuff.
I need to see it. I need to see the gameplay.
Right.
So,
if it's that art style, I don't know. I mean, maybe the gameplay would be really good, but if it's like this flash player sort of vector graphics rather than sort of classic, they should have done it like Sonic Mania, man. Sonic Mania was the ultimate nostalgia trip game.
it was. But here's the
Should
thing.
have done it like that.
Much like Banjo, do you even care about Battletoads?
You know what? I love a good side-scrolling beat 'em up. Like I love Streets of Rage and stuff like that. I don't have nostalgia for Battletoads, but if it's a fun side-scrolling beat 'em up with, 2-player co-op, yeah, I'll play it with my brother and my mates and stuff like that.
Okay, I mean, yeah, fair enough. I think
Hey, it's not gonna be 2019's PUBG or anything.
I
But,
mean, yeah. I mean, I think I said this when it was announced. The world doesn't need another Battletoads. You know what I mean?
why not?
I mean, because it was a bad game back then. Like
Whoa,
I don't know where all
whoa!
from Battletoads at all. Like they
Battletoads had great
dude,
ideas.
they're people love Battletoads or they love the character. They've been in like one game and it's like, yeah, bring back Rash, Pimple, and Zid or whatever.
Well,
the names
that's the
are.
thing. They've been in one game, and people remember it so fondly. That says something to me, man. That says that it has potential.
Look,
Yeah.
I'm willing to give a game a chance, and I need to see what the gameplay is. But like, I just look like with Banjo, I don't. Maybe it's because I just don't care about Rare. Like any of their old stuff, I just don't care. And Battletoads falls on.
Even
And
GoldenEye?
What?
What about GoldenEye? What about GoldenEye, man?
GoldenEye was fine. Yeah, I like GoldenEye.
Fine,
Perfect Dark.
fine.
I didn't care for Perfect Dark, but I mean, I expect it to be there.
Killer Instinct?
Okay,
You didn't like Killer Instinct?
Okay, Killer Instinct is good. I'll give him that. Killer Instinct is quite good. I like Killer Instinct quite a bit.
Damn right.
Do you think we'll see? Speaking of Killer Instinct, do you think we see an announcement of a Killer Instinct 2 at the show?
You know, I've been working on these Killer Instinct rumors for a few months now, and apparently there is possibly, the franchise isn't dead. They're still exploring it, so who knows? I mean, that Killer Instinct firmly falls under the, who knows category, and Adam Eisgreen, who led development on the new Killer Instinct, was teasing that he was traveling to places for work reasons recently. So I don't know, man. That falls under the expect the unexpected.
Expect the unexpected. I fully expect there's going to be a Killer Instinct for next gen. I just don't think they're going to show it at this event. And man, I see a lot of people hating on me for my Battletoads opinion. We got Clobril saying Battletoads a bad game. Rand telling he hasn't even played Banjo. What's next? He doesn't know that squirrel. This is insane. Some guy says, "Does Rand like games?" I mean, people are giving it to me in chat. Cake Batter says next Rand is going to say Pac-Man's overrated. Not at all. I love Pac-Man. I love even the update to Pac-Man.
We've talked about this before. You were a Sega kid too, right?
Yes, I was a Sega kid.
Yeah, so we were both Sega kids, and I think that's why we get on so well. Nintendo people are just a bit different.
Yeah, so like I don't have any love for any of the Nintendo games. I went from the NES to the Sega Genesis, the Sega CD, the Sega 32X, the Sega Saturn, basically into the PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2. I skipped the SNES and the 64. So a lot of people that when they developed that bond for some of these characters, I didn't. I don't care about Donkey Kong and
So I didn't either. Like I really love Super Metroid, the original Super Metroid on the SNES. But like Mario, Donkey Kong, and all that other stuff. I really like Yoshi's Island. The first Yoshi's Island is my favorite Mario game.
I will say, I love Metroid. I actually have played Super Metroid. I love Metroid Prime 1, 2, and 2. I didn't get a chance to play 3. So like Metroid's probably my favorite Nintendo franchise.
The Genesis just had better games. Like the Gunstar Heroes, Dynamite Headdy, Sonic, man.
I mean,
Sonic was better than Mario.
Yeah, and then of course, when the PlayStation came out, it was time. I was the PlayStation fanboy. Oh man, Sony could do no wrong back in those days. They were the system to have. PS1.
Yeah, I used to fight in Camp Sony, man. I remember like nearly having a fight at school, arguing with someone about Majora's Mask, Ocarina of Time versus Final Fantasy VII. I hadn't even played Ocarina of Time, but I was arguing that Final Fantasy VII was objectively a better game, and they're getting so mad. N64 versus PS1, that was a real console war, man.
Yeah, I don't think people like us talking like this because we shot up to 14 dislikes. People get talking bad about Nintendo and all this stuff and saying that we're Sega kids. They don't like it. They don't like it. Oh man. So that brings us to Gear 5. I see them. So Rod's going to be there, right? So and Gears is their huge game for next year. So I honestly think they have to show something. And look, I expect them to show new stuff. It's not if they literally trot out Rod Ferguson and they just replay the trailer from E3. I'm going to be incredibly disappointed.
They won't do that.
So I expect.
I expect Gears 5 gameplay, maybe Gears Tactics gameplay. I want to see Gears Pop gameplay, man. I'm straight up. I want to know what the hell Gears Pop is.
Do we think we're going to get a release date potentially or an announcement of a multiplayer beta for Gears 5?
It's Q2, right?
Gears 5, they just said 2019, presumably September of 2019, I would guess.
Oh, I thought it was earlier than that. I don't know, man. Might be too early to announce any sort of beta.
Reveal, you think?
I think like they might show off some of the new gameplay aspects, because I did see snippets from an interview recently where they said we wanted to like play it safe a bit for Gears 4, and now we're going to try and push the franchise to the next level. So presumably that means going beyond the linear corridor shooter, which is old hat now. I love Gears so much, but playing linear corridor shooter is just not 2018, 2019 to me. So that franchise needs to evolve, and hopefully we'll see something that says that it is.
Right.
I'm more excited for Gears Tactics, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, Gears Tactics looks at least different. It looks like XCOM with. I'm just wondering if they're gonna be like, yeah, it's coming to Xbox now that there's keyboard and mouse support.
I'm just like, I know the Gears 5 is probably going to be a good game, a solid Gears game, and I'll enjoy it. But like, I love XCOM. I love strategy games. I love that Gears is branching out into different genres. So I just want to see where they take it. It's intriguing to me.
So that leads us to like some of the surprise announcements because Microsoft said the first party was going to show up big, and I expect them to show off new information of all their titles, like we just talked about, the ones that are releasing in 2019. But I still expect them to at least end the show in a big way. Now, you had an interesting tweet today saying that a lot of Microsoft marketing people were out around where Ninja Theory was.
They're not just at Ninja Theory. Like, digging into it a bit, they've been all over the UK, every UK studio now. Okay. And it just sort of slammed home to me that how much investment they put in the UK just before the UK destroys itself.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
But yeah, like they were at Ninja Theory, Rare, and so presumably we're going to get the next Sea of Thieves DLC too.
That's I would imagine that. And since Playground's out there, the first Forza expansion, which is dated for December, I would imagine they'd show that off as well.
I wonder what that could be.
I want to know too, because like, how do you top Hot Wheels?
Well, that's the thing. Like, I am a racing game fan, right? But Hot Wheels, I played that and I was totally on board with that. So like, I think like if they did like some other sort of licensed expansion, like Lego or something, that'd get me to play Forza. Just because, man. What would work? That's the thing about Forza. They can go a little bit more crazy with it.
Well, that's with Forza Horizon, yeah.
With
Horizon, yeah. What if they starts off and there's a car driving, right, and it looks all great, and then it blows through the sign, and then the camera turns to the sign. It's like, now entering Albion, population 2020 or something.
Well,
huh?
That'd be
that's straight up. That's a genius marketing idea for you, Microsoft. I know some of you are listening. I know some. I don't
know. Kind of sends the wrong message.
Why do you always gotta put me down, dude?
I don't know. Don't work in marketing, man.
No, I don't like marketing. Marketing, you gotta lie about stuff all the time, especially PR. You gotta like, oh no, February 22nd, we never gave a release date for Crackdown. Are you sure about that? What about this tweet, sir? Oh, someone made a mistake. Well, is the Xbox official Twitter account official? Anything that comes from that Twitter account I consider to be official? Yes? Okay. Especially then how they spin everything. But so I'm predicting that we're going to get either an announcement of Ninja Theory's next game or Fable. I don't think we'll get both, but I think we'll get one. And I'm putting all my chips. I'm all in. Like, I have all my chips. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll admit it. I probably will admit here in a minute that I was wrong about Spider-Man and its sales. But I'm all in. I got all my chips, Jazz. I want you to call it. Like, I'm all in on Microsoft announcing Fable. Playground's Fable at this year's XO. Convince me why. Tell me why I'm wrong. Or explain to me why you think it's maybe Ninja Theories. Or explain to me why you think Microsoft won't make any big announcements whatsoever. I want to know. I'm all in. I'm ready to go.
I ain't a big fan of Fable.
Okay. That being said, sure. Not a big fan of Fable. I get it. But this is a different Fable. and this is just predictions. I'm here at the table with you. It's 1v1. You know, I'm looking at your poker face. You're looking at mine. I'm all in, baby. Are you matching me, or what? What's going on here?
I don't know the rules of poker, but yeah, why not?
Why not? So that was very yeah. Why not?
What
Yeah.
what if they do? What if they do an Age of Empires style teaser for Fable, and then give the gameplay at E3? Would that be really annoying?
An age of no, like, look, if they announce, like, I don't care if they announce it as a freaking JPEG. You want to know why? Because Nintendo announced Metroid Prime 4 as a JPEG, and people flip their minds. All they
Yeah,
want to know is that, look,
but that is Metroid, not Fable.
doesn't matter. All people want to know is that these games are coming, right? And Fable by Playground Games would be absolutely. You don't need to even show it because it's clearly a next gen game, right? But like, this is a fan event. You're gonna have all these people there. You got to put on a great show. Otherwise, why even bother bringing back XO? You need to start some excitement for the stuff that you're doing going into the future. What better way, in my opinion, than to announce Fable at the show with the JPEG? I'd prefer it to be a gameplay trailer, but they're probably too early for that.
Microsoft's got more. Microsoft can do a GIF, man. They can afford to go beyond the JPEG. But yeah, I think Fable's possible. I want to see Age of Empires footage too. Age of Empires 4.
So you don't. So do you agree with me about it's one or the other? Like, if it's not Fable, it's Ninja Theory's next game.
Will be both, man. Could be.
I don't think they're gonna do both, dude. I don't think so.
It's a 2-hour long show, man. They could do both.
There's a lot there, and I don't want people to be bored. Do you think they'll also tease Xbox 2 or Xbox Scarlet?
I think. Now, I wrote in my predictions that this is another either or situation, where it's kind of like, if they talk about Xcloud, I think they need to tease Scarlet because they don't want to send the message that we are all in on streaming and Xbox consoles are going away, blah blah blah. So if they talk about, if you notice, every time they've talked about Xcloud in all their marketing, they always say we're still doing traditional consoles, blah blah blah. They're very desperate to not confuse the consumers about where Xbox is going. So I think, like, if they talk about Xcloud, they'll also talk about Scarlet. If they don't talk about Xcloud, maybe they won't talk about Scarlet.
So I made the prediction that Microsoft will actually show off Xcloud and actually demo how it works.
If they do, then I think they'll talk about Scarlet too. At least mention it.
Well, I mean, see, I don't think why it's out of the realm of possibility that they could tease Scarlet. I mean, they already talked about next-gen consoles at E3. And this is a fan show. So, I mean, I'm not even saying, like, here's what the device looks like.
Well, they showed with Scorpio that they can create a compelling long tail marketing campaign out of teasing a console. So maybe they announce the code name. Maybe say, yeah, the next console is Project Scarlet, and then we have like another year of like Scarlet emojis on Twitter and stuff. You know, like.
Well, I mean, yeah. Keep in mind, like, they announced the Xbox Scorpio a year in advance, and I'm not expecting the next Xbox to come out in 2019. I think that's ludicrous. I'm expecting 2020 for the next Xbox, but I mean, who knows what PlayStation's doing? And if PlayStation's next year, then Microsoft has to tell people that they also have a new system coming. You know, like, don't buy a PlayStation 5 now because we have another Xbox coming later on that's going to be more powerful. But do you think how imperative is it for Microsoft to knock this one out of the park, though?
I mean,
can they just put on?
It's not imperative.
It's not imperative.
I mean, it's a bit of both. Okay, so Microsoft is exploring this new gaming frontier, console streaming to mobile devices and stuff like that. That's going to be an entirely new market, and that's where Microsoft's putting its most aggressive investment. exclusive content for that platform and stuff like that. Microsoft still trails Sony in the home console war. It can make up for it with streaming by really, really nailing streaming to mobile devices. That'll be a whole new market. It could be a really big deal if they get it right. And ultimately, their long-term goal is staving off Google and not missing out on the next technological shift. Google beat them to phones. Google sure as hell isn't going to beat them to game streaming. So that's where the bit where it's not that imperative for them to completely nail the consoles. It's imperative for them to at least nail it for the hardcore audience and stuff like that. But they might have lost the casual mass market console audience forever. Yeah.
It's very, yeah. I mean, I kind of agree with that. The casual market clearly is with Sony.
The
I don't.
casual core market. The
Yeah.
super casual is still on mobile devices.
Well, if you want to, sure, okay, yeah. Super casual people are on mobile. Um, I don't really, I don't really think Microsoft even stands a chance of even coming close to what Sony's going to do next gen sales wise.
Unless Sony pulls a PlayStation 3 with the PS5.
I don't. Sure, I guess anybody like yeah, PlayStation made the mistake, $600 back in 2006, 2005. Yeah, Microsoft made a mistake, 2013. They both companies shot themselves in the foot and suffered for it. I'm just not sure any company is going to do that to themselves again. But stranger things have happened. I don't really.
You say this, but it could happen.
I mean, I guess it's possible PlayStation could be like, by the way, we're $500 and there's no backwards compatibility, and people are like, what? Or like who knows? I guess it's possible they screw up in some manner, but I just then they deserve everything that happens to them if they screw up, especially if Xbox screws up after what they went through this gen. Well, then they're all idiots over there. So and Sony, like they got control of the market again. If you want to screw up again, then whatever. I don't know, but yeah, because I really do think Xcloud is going to be demoed there. I mean, I think they would have saved the announcement of Xcloud for this conference or for XO if Google didn't announce Project Stream first.
Yeah, they don't want Google having that narrative. Microsoft's going to aggressively pursue this because Google's like the only company really that can compete with Microsoft in that space, in that quality. Google and Amazon really, because they're the only companies that have their own server infrastructure. So Sony has to hire the servers. They don't have data centers. So like they're basically paying a big licensing fee, and their streaming service will never be as profitable as Xboxes would be able to be.
Yeah, speaking of PlayStation, really quick, did you see some of these warnings for changing your name?
Oh yeah.
I mean, look, and I know they probably
this is the downside of like not future-proofing your systems.
Yeah, so PS4 name changes in beta or whatever, but there's a couple concerns. So they'd say you may lose access to content, including paid-for content that you have acquired for your games, including content like add-ons and virtual currency. You may lose progress within games, including game save data, leaderboard data, and progress towards trophies. Part of your games and applications may not function properly, both online and offline. I know from a couple people I do follow that have changed their name, they haven't run into any problems yet. But I'm sure this is Sony covering their ass just in case somebody does experience something like that. But
it's gonna be some of these like old games that probably use really, really bad sort of coding and stuff like that, and don't save like usernames properly in save files and that sort of thing. It's probably not going to affect most modern games, but some of the maybe lower budget games that cut corners and stuff, I can see it like affecting those.
Well, hopefully nobody runs into any issues. I guess if you want to name yourself Fart Muncher, like
is that your PSN name?
No, I probably would change mine, especially if it was free, because I don't want Well, okay. Someone maybe complained to me, like, can you actually use spaces on PSN now? Because my name on Twitter is Randall Thor 19. My gamer tag's Randall Thor 19. You know, spaces in between. But PlayStation Network does not allow spaces, so I have to put Rand underscore Al underscore, and it was Thor 19 because someone actually had 3 different variations of my name on there. I'm like, what? Someone's pretending to be me on PlayStation Network? Can't imagine like that person going around there sending people like, "Hey, I'm the man with the million. You suck." I don't know, but like, I mean, they probably won't change that. I'll probably still have to keep the underscore thing in there. But I try to keep it pretty the same across every platform. Um, but yeah, it's just interesting how it took so long to come about, and then it was like, yeah, it got some issues. So yeah. Um, what else we got here? Forza 4 sales and Spider-Man sales. I thought this was pretty interesting, as well as the fact that the whole Xbox One X outsold Xbox One S thing going around.
Yeah, that wasn't like actually accurate.
Well, it's accurate to a certain sense, or I guess it's accurate from a certain way of thinking of what your perspective is. So I guess we'll start with that. So there was rumors floating around this past few weeks that Xbox was down year over year for NPD, right? Uh, NPD released their findings yesterday, and it was up 30% over year, and up 60% for I think the entire year. Like, but people, of course, are like rushed to put out their hot takes, be like, oh, the people that had the insider info were wrong. However, like, I think people don't read tweets fully or don't understand when NPD reports stuff that largely they usually give dollar sales figures, and the rumors were about unit sales. So, and in that report, it was said that the Xbox One X was not only the highest dollar unit sale for an Xbox, but also unit sales, beating out the Xbox One S, which to me was pretty surprising. I'm like, there's really the $500 system is selling more units than the Xbox One S. That seems kind of weird to me, right? Um, but then it was later clarified that like MPD tracks all these different SKUs, and that an individual SKU like the Xbox One X was number one, but if you add up all the SKUs for the S in totality, they would actually be more than the X. So that's what happened in that situation.
Yep.
And I totally forgot about this in our XO predictions. So shout out for Eternal Shaddai for bringing it up. He says, what other splash other than Obsidian Entertainment will Microsoft announce at XO that will make you dance for joy? Do you think Bethesda joining? We totally forgot about that, which is why normally when someone super chats, I usually wait for an end of the topic to talk about it, but I literally forgot to talk about studio acquisitions. So let's change gears really quick. We got the Xbox One X, Xbox One S thing covered, right?
Yeah.
Studio acquisitions, Jez. I saw you tweeted that you expected multiple. I'm expecting multiple. What do you think's going on there?
Again, this is just a guess, but I know that Microsoft's in talks, or at least has courted several studios. It's Turtle Rock, the makers of Left 4 Dead, is one that always comes up. I've been hearing that on and off for a while now. And then also there's all these Obsidian rumors and stuff from Clobril. Shout out to him. So, I think Obsidian sounds like it's pretty much a done deal. And for me, Obsidian is a great pickup if Microsoft's trying to make itself more credible with PC gamers, because they make very PC-oriented games nowadays. Widely regarded as making the best Fallout game of all time. I personally agree. I think New Vegas is the best Fallout game, including the classic ones. So, what do you think?
I think Obsidian's a done deal. I think that's going to be big for them, and I look forward to seeing what they make. I
went back because I was playing Pillars of Eternity for a while, but I I just stopped playing it because had to play another game for review or something like that. Just got sidetracked, and then I tried to go back to Pillars of Eternity, and it was that old RPG problem where you go back to a game that you haven't played in a long time, and it's like, where the hell am I going? What the hell am I doing? What's even going on in the story? So I'm gonna have to start Pillars of Eternity all over again from the start, I think.
Huh. I mean, for me, I think Obsidian's one. I think there's at least going to be another one. I don't know who. Like you said, there's all these rumors floating around. Playful, which they denied. Sumo Digital, the makers of Crackdown 3, is one I've heard.
I could if they've managed to get the quality of Crackdown 3 to a place where Microsoft's happy with it, I can totally see Sumo and then they becoming the Crackdown team.
Yeah.
Totally see that.
There's talks of like Certain Affinity, Play Dead. I mean, there's a whole bunch. I'm not really. It's hard to say which ones, other than like Obsidian is going to be it. You know what I mean?
I mean,
There.
one of the things that always comes up when it comes to acquisitions is people often think about what are the seriously big acquisitions Microsoft could make here. I mean, Mixer is proving to be a serious acquisition for Microsoft, where like they bought out a whole company, they paid to move all their staff to Seattle, and they're constantly working on new features, cutting deals for exclusive content, huge amount of investment going into Mixer. Like, what kind of huge investment could they make on the gaming side? Like, could they buy a publisher? I mean, in Microsoft's earnings report, one of the forward-facing comments or warnings Microsoft gave to investors was that they were looking into making strategic acquisitions, which could impact Microsoft's earnings and stuff, which sounds like more expensive than your average acquisition.
Well, right, yeah, and I see people saying, "How about Splash Damage or Haze Light, Capybara?" I mean, yeah, there's a lot of rumors. I did a video about Bethesda because Michael
Is there
Pachter.
rumors about that?
Well, it's all from Michael Pachter because he said for a certainty that in a couple of years Bethesda is going to be sold, and that he sees either Activision, Amazon, or Microsoft buying them.
Oh,
I mean, it
God.
all came from him, so I did that video about it, and it
What?
was just.
Why would ZeniMax sell
He
Bethesda?
says their CEO is like 70 years old and wants to get out of the game, and that they'd be looking to sell, and it would be about a $10 billion acquisition, and that if Amazon wanted to get in, that'd be the perfect opportunity. But then Microsoft would be like trying to get in to protect their business, and those games could essentially help sell, cloud streaming and all this other stuff. But it was a hypothetical scenario that
That's
Pachter put out there, which is why
yeah.
I came out and I was like, yeah, this ain't happening, because I saw people running with it like it was a sure thing. Just like earlier in the year, you remember when Microsoft was rumored to be buying EA and Valve and PUBG and stuff? Remember?
I like those rumors. Those are my
I mean,
favorite.
they're fun to talk about, they're fun to speculate about, but it's like EA doesn't make any sense at all for Microsoft to buy. EA makes sense for someone like Google, who doesn't have anything.
But the thing is, any of these big acquisitions, and I've talked about Discord being acquired by Google. Any of these acquisitions, yeah, like if Microsoft bought them today, it wouldn't make much sense. But to buy them simply to stop Google or Amazon getting them, that is compelling enough to buy them, I would say. If I mean, Google could buy EA and do nothing with them and fuck them all up. I mean, sure. I mean, we all know what happened. I mean, Microsoft could do the same, and we know what happened with Microsoft and Skype. You know,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
but at the same time, it's like I don't think Microsoft would allow Amazon or EA to buy Bethesda, especially Bethesda, who've got like an insane amount of goodwill. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of negativity around Fallout 76, but Bethesda has a serious fan base, like super passion, an amazing amount of franchises that are still in the forefront of people's minds. It's the IP more than anything, you know. That's how there's this whole debate now about video streaming services, right? Where like they're saying video streaming services are encouraging piracy again because there's so much exclusive content on all the different streaming services that people don't bother subscribing to everything anymore. They subscribe to maybe one or two or none and just go back to piracy rather than buy into this whole exclusive thing. So like, and Netflix announced they're going to invest, what was it, 8 billion, 18 billion or something like that. They announced they were going to massively increase investment in exclusive programming to stave off competition from Disney and other companies like that. Exclusive content on streaming services is super important. So like, if I was Google, I'd be like, yeah, EA, buy them. Yeah, Bethesda, buy them, because that's how they get into the game, is with exclusive content that people love. And Microsoft would have to outbid them to protect their business. So I don't
Yeah.
know.
So, like I said, it's a hypothetical situation. I don't know why I see some people saying, "Oh, you know, more wishful thinking." I didn't say it was happening. Like I said, I was the one who shut it down. But it's interesting conversation nonetheless. You mentioned publishers, or like which one, like Sega, even though like I doubt that, but because they were just talking about how they wanted to put Dreamcast games on the Switch. Um, people ran with that story when Microsoft visited them early in the year. So I really only expect two studio acquisitions, and the big one we already know, and it's Bethesda. So I don't know who else they could get. I mean, who else is independent that needs money? You know what I mean? That needs a Crytek. I mean, but Microsoft and Crytek don't necessarily
Capcom
have the best.
Capcom was a name that came up a lot back in the day when they were in trouble, but they're not so much in trouble anymore.
No, so yeah, I expect two. Jez expects a few. We both agree on Obsidian, and we have no clue on the other ones. Paging Cloburl to find out that information and post it on Twitter, and then we'll know. Um, so I wanted to talk really quickly about two games from MPD, and then we'll take some questions. Because this is to me, it's pretty interesting, and it's how well Forza Horizon 4 did, basically being on the market for a week. Because MPD data went to October 6th. The game came out October 2nd, and the launch of the Ultimate Edition was September 28th. So this is like a week worth of sales. And not only did it have the highest launch month sales for the Forza entirety of the Forza franchise, it's the best-selling launch for any Forza game in history. It's the seventh best-selling game for September, but it's the highest launch sales for a racing game on any Xbox platform in history
Damn.
in 7 days. Like, that's pretty incredible when you think of all the Forza games that came before it, all the Need for Speeds that came before it. Uh, and man, my phone just will not stop ringing off the hook. I tell you.
Destruction Derby, man. I can't believe it outsold Destruction Derby on the PS1,
I know, right?
which is the greatest racing game ever made.
So, they just also announced that the root creator and the new patch will be coming, I think today. So yeah, Forza Horizon 4 seems to be a big hit, and keep in mind, like all that info, the fact that it's like the best and biggest ever. Yeah, you know what? They did that while being in Game Pass too, which makes it, in my opinion, even way more impressive because Game Pass is not part of MPD's data. So it's like Forza Horizon 4 ended up being huge for Microsoft.
Yes, it did. I mean,
Yeah,
there was always that discussion about how Microsoft didn't market Forza Horizon 3 hard enough, and they
that is true.
certainly didn't make that mistake this time around.
I'm just wondering what do you do with 5? There's the rumors that because Turn 10 has said like the entire Forza Motorsport team is still working on 7 and they haven't moved to 8 yet. That if 8 is a 2020 title, that would make Horizon 5 a 2021 title. So what do you think on that? I mean, do you think, one, is there any like validity to, nobody's working on Forza Motorsport 8 yet and that they're going to take time on both those games? I do kind of think it needs a little rest because, quite frankly, I did feel about 35 hours into Forza Horizon like, yeah, I played this. It's Forza Horizon 3 on steroids. Um, what do you think about that, Jez?
Yeah, I mean, I ain't a racing fan, so I mean, I get the appeal of Forza Horizon to a degree. You know, fun, bright colors, race around a huge, beautiful world with your friends. I get the motorsport aspect less. I suppose it's just like you have to be a racing enthusiast to really enjoy that sort of stuff. And it's like if a game's super realistic, how do you really push the boundaries of that game? I think they need to go down like more of a manager style route with it. Maybe like go double down on the simulation stuff and bring in some like management elements to it. If Forza Horizon is the fun arcade style, make motorsport as realistic as possible.
Yeah.
One of the things that always bugs me about the Forza games is how lame the crash physics are. The cars don't even get dented. They're like made out of like reinforced steel or something.
And well, that's not the only game that did well. Assassin's Creed Odyssey was higher than Origins. Tomb Raider had the highest sales since Tomb Raider in 2013, outdoing Rise of the Tomb Raider. I don't know if you saw, but they review bombed that game on Steam because it went on sale so fast. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
It's like kind of crazy. It's like PC games are known to go on sale quite often, and are you really surprised that Tomb Raider went on sale a month after it came out? Like, I don't really get the hate or why people decided to review bomb it. I mean, it's a good game. It's just games go on sale all the time. Like, only if you're that price sensitive that the game dropping 20 bucks after a month is that big of a deal, you probably shouldn't be buying the game. Probably got like other financial issues if $20 makes you flip out like that. But of course, the big talk of the town was Spider-Man because Jesus Christ, Jez. Not only was it September's best-selling game, not only did it have the highest launch month dollar sales for any exclusive in PlayStation history, that's their entire history. Not only was it bigger, its launch month sales were 30% higher than all other Spider-Man games combined. When you think about that, that's ridiculous because there's like 15 of them.
And does that include the mobile games too?
I don't think it includes the mobile games. So in 1 month, it became the third best-selling game of 2018. But the thing that really kind of stood out to me was that's the 7th biggest all-time launch on PlayStation platforms. So PS1, PS2, PS3, PS4, PSP, and Vita. The 7th biggest launch. So like up there with presumably Grand Theft Auto 5 and Grand Theft Auto 4, the Call of Duty games. Like you're talking about like rarefied air. There's only 6 games that sold more in a single month than Spider-Man.
Damn.
I don't know. I think that's incredibly impressive. Especially when your last game was Sunset Overdrive. And like really none of your other games that you've put out in your history were that sold that good. I mean, the Resistance series was okay. Fuse was a bomb. Spyro was okay, but I don't think that was like a barn burner. But like now you have like one of the best selling games ever almost. I don't know. It's pretty impressive to me.
Mm-hmm.
And Jez is like, no, it's Sony. I don't care. Who cares? Who cares about Spider-Man? Who cares about Spider-Man?
But I just expected it,
You expected it. You expected it to be the 7th best-selling
IP
game in PlayStation history.
Yeah, Marvel IP is so hot right now, man.
That is true.
And I know Disney doesn't technically own Spider-Man franchise, or do they now? I don't know. But Spider-Man is associated with Marvel, and that is so hot right now. It was the perfect game at the perfect time, and this is what happens. Lightning in a bottle sort of stuff.
Well-made game that makes you think about Crystal Dynamics Avengers game. How well that could do if it's really good when that comes out, whenever it comes out, right?
If it's good.
If it's good, of course. The key here being good.
Still has to be good.
Yes.
Like, I mean, Batman has shown, that Rocksteady has shown that when you take an established IP and make a good game, it sells. But like for so long, so many companies just looked to make a quick buck, and they were like, yeah, we'll take this IP, we'll make a shitty game, and we'll still sell just because the IP is good. So like I grew up thinking. I grew up with the assumption. I'm sure many of you guys did too. I grew up with the assumption that a game based on a movie was automatically going to be trash, like the Men in
You
Black games, the Avatar games, like the Superman games back in the day. Like there was some decent Batman games on the Sega Genesis and stuff like that. Funnily enough, but like it was less of a huge risk and investment to make a 2D beat 'em up. But like the 3D games based on movies have almost always been garbage, with the exception of the Lego games, which are aimed at kids. But like, yeah, I've heard, you know, I've just had that feeling about it. But like Rocksteady and now
well,
Insomniac have proven that they can work if they actually make them good games.
I expected it to be good, right? And I took the I didn't expect it to beat out God of War, and apparently, according to people that know, it nuked God of War. Like God of War didn't even come close to the numbers that Spider-Man
Well,
put up.
just go and ask a normie if they've heard of God of War,
Okay,
and
yeah,
then go and
that's
ask
true.
them if they've heard of Spider-Man.
Yeah,
It's that simple, man.
I took the L, man. I took the L. What am I going to say? You know, congratulate. So what do you think?
Man, it's these normies.
What do you think Insomniac is doing next? What's their next project?
Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2, exclusively for the PS5, right?
What about that Sunset Overdrive 2, man?
I don't know. Has Phil Spencer picked up the phone and called Ted Price yet?
Probably. He's probably said, nah, Spider-Man.
He's probably like, let me count all these millions we're getting for like, considering how well they did, now that Ted Price could probably sit there and like renegotiate better terms for a sequel if the sequel wasn't already part of the negotiations. Like, yeah, we just did better than your Naughty Dog, than Sony Santa Monica. We the captain now. That's what Insomniac is saying to Shuhei Yoshida.
It reminds me of now. Like Epic Games too was so like in this sort of zombie state for ages. So it's like they sold the Gears IP to Microsoft, and they put out a free-to-play version of Unreal Tournament, which was just kind of bad. And then they put out the Fortnite Save to World stuff, which was also kind of bad. And then they pivoted to Battle Royale. Now Epic Games is hot shit. You know, it just goes to show, like, if you capitalize on the right game at the right time, and boy, Epic Games did. So did Insomnia, and now they're reaping the benefits of it. You know,
yep.
It's awesome, man. It's great to see the industry flourish like this.
It is very good. Do you want to take some questions really quickly?
Let's take some questions, baby.
Yeah, hit us up with some questions. That's the show for now, of course, but we always end the show answering some questions that people have for us. Do want to say, if you enjoyed the podcast, make sure you give us a like, subscribe if you're new, follow Jez on Twitter, links in the description. And hey, I'm still giving away 1 year of Xbox Live Gold, 6 months of Xbox Game Pass, and 50 Xbox One games. Link is in the description of the video. It's pretty easy to enter. But let's see, what do we got here? First question. Someone put in something. So Face wants to know, with the success of Spider-Man, would Sony have a chance to buy Insomniac? I mean, do they even need to buy Insomniac?
The value with Insomniac right now is their ability to capitalize on an IP they don't own. You know, you buy Insomniac, you're getting some really great talent, but you know, in Sunset Overdrive 2 ain't gonna sell like Spider-Man's gonna sell.
That's true. I don't think
yeah,
I don't think they need to buy Insomniac, and I think Insomniac is very happy with their independence. You know,
Insomniac don't need to be bought at this point.
Yeah, L. Paul wants to know, Megaton, Rand S. Jez refuses to mention Andromeda and Xcloud in the same sentence.
What? Say that again.
He says, why? Ask Jez why he refuses to mention Andromeda and Xcloud in the same sentence.
I don't refuse to say that in the same sentence. In fact, I wrote an editorial 2 weeks ago saying that Andromeda should have an Xcloud focus. Like, for those who don't know, Andromeda is Microsoft's folding tablet device that's been rumored for like 50,000 years. And like, if Andromeda was Microsoft's Nintendo Switch, I think it'd sell. you know. But if they try and position it like, yeah, this is a phone, but it's got no apps, it ain't gonna sell. So, yeah.
Yeah. Virgil wants to know, Rand, how much bigger do you think Spider-Man would have been had it been multi-plat? Um, well, that's tough to say because if it was multi-plat, who's publishing it and who do they hire? Because I'd imagine if it's multi-plat, Insomniac's not doing it, so it's probably a mid-tier Spider-Man game. But if you're asking like literally, okay, take how good this Spider-Man was and how good it was marketed, which is all Activision and or all Sony and Marvel, and then just also put it on Xbox. Well, yeah, it would have sold more copies because now on more platforms. But that's not how this works. So, like, if the Spider-Man was a multi-plat game, it wouldn't have been advertised as good as it was, and it wouldn't have been made by Insomniac. So a lot of the factors that you have and how well it's sold would be gone, in my opinion. So yeah. Rodan Forbes wants to know: can Microsoft realistically hire 600 devs by the end of the year? Because there was that talk that Microsoft was hiring 600 game developers for their studios this year, Jez. I don't know if you saw that or not.
I think in a year, yeah, Microsoft has the money to do that, and they have the the organizational structure to do that. I mean, they acquire massive companies all the time. You know, it's how Microsoft got so big. You know, you don't compete, you buy the competition. You know, and that whole meme for that's how Microsoft behaved in the 90s. When Microsoft went public and became like the world's richest company on earth, they didn't compete with people. They just bought them out.
They bought, yeah, what was it? Embrace, extend, extinguish, something like that. What was
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Samuel
Facebook does it too. You know, Facebook bought Instagram, bought WhatsApp, bought Oculus, and all the heads of those companies left now.
Well, did you see the talk about the co-founder of Oculus leaving Facebook and Facebook canceling Oculus 2 for PC or something? Oculus 2?
Yep.
Is VR in trouble? Is Sony the only
No.
ones keeping VR alive at this point?
No. I think VR has a place, and it just requires them to think outside the box and fix the little things that is wrong with VR. Because VR is good. In fact, VR is great. The problem with VR is that just these little annoyances that make it just too much hard work to bother with. You know, like the stupid stuff like lenses getting fogged up, and that whole sort of the edge of your peripheral vision getting cut off by this blurry sort of lens effect, and the fact that you've got all these cables and all this bullshit. It just requires some company to come in and solve all that stuff. And frankly, Oculus doesn't. Facebook isn't a gaming company, so they ain't going to solve it. If anyone's going to solve it, it's going to be Sony and Microsoft.
All right, well then I got a question for you.
In it.
So I'm going to pretend that I am a chatter, and I have a question directly for you, Jez. Will the Xbox Scarlet, the next console from Microsoft, support VR natively?
Ooh, now that's an interesting question. Technically, it will be able to, in the same way that the Xbox One X is technically able to.
Okay. Revised question. Will Microsoft put out their own VR headset for the Xbox Scarlet?
I'm going to say no, and I'm going to tell you why. I think Microsoft, this is what I would do if I was Microsoft. Microsoft is still investing in VR. In the October update for Windows 10, there are some really, really cool features for Windows Mixed Reality. And one of those features is you can use the controller to see through the virtual room into your real world using the cameras on the headset. So you don't have to take your headset off just to talk to someone. That is one of those little things that Microsoft has solved that reduces the annoyance of using a Windows Mixed Reality headset. Like, for example, if I'm using Windows Mixed Reality now in my bedroom, my girlfriend wants to talk to me, I have to take the headset off, I have to put the controllers down, I have to do all this annoying stuff just to talk to her. But now I can like open a window which gives me my webcam feed over the top of my game. So like Microsoft's still investing in Windows Mixed Reality, and from what I've heard about the infrastructure that is going to power Scarlet, it's going to be better placed for operating system updates than the Xbox One is, because the Xbox One uses this really convoluted system where there's multiple operating systems communicating via hypervisor, right? So
Okay.
it's complicated, and that's why the dashboard is so slow, even on the X, because it doesn't have much of an allocation, and it wasn't designed to have more of an allocation, from what I understand. But the next Xbox, from what I've heard, will ditch this multi-operating system approach. So pushing like a big system update like VR to it would be potentially simpler, in a similar way to like a Windows update gives you new features. Um, you know, an update to the Scarlet will be able to be more pivotal than what we've got with the dashboard now. A lot of the new features we've got on the dashboard are either like separated out into apps, or they've just been the result of moving stuff around, not necessarily changing anything too much. You know, and it basically is just restrictions on the current Xbox dashboard, from what I understand. And a lot of those restrictions will be gone with Windows Core OS, which is the next big Windows iteration, which Microsoft is working on now.
All right. Well, that was a long explanation to say no or whatever, but I guess we'll find out sooner or later. Shout out to Joe Mars for the super chat. He says, "Hey guys, a bit late to the party. Hope I haven't missed much." Well, the party's almost over. We're here answering questions, so hope you can always go back and listen to the podcast at your own time. Appreciate the support. And Eternal Shaddai wants to know, which are your 5 Game of the Year 2018 games? Ooh, he wants me to give away like a video idea that I was going to do at the end of the year. Really quickly right now, in no particular order, my top 5 are Forza Horizon 4, God of War, Far Cry 5, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and Spider-Man? There you go. Jez?
Sorry, my boss was talking to me. What is the question again?
Your top 5 games for the year so far.
Oh, God, that is hard in a left field. Monster Hunter is obviously going to be up there. Man, what games even did come out this year?
Jez don't play no games, so that's why he doesn't
Decay
know.
2. Sorry. I like State of Decay. Screw you, man.
Okay, fair enough.
Frostpunk.
Frostpunk, okay.
Absolutely love that game. Did They Are Billions come out this year too? And They Are Billions as well came out this year. And I'm going to say, off the top of my head, Battle for Azeroth.
All right, fair enough.
But you know, it's midnight here, and
we got to get going.
There's loads of games that I'm forgetting.
Yeah.
I'm
so as Jess says, it's late. Thank you for the questions. We'll be back next Wednesday at the regular time, back again on Wednesdays. So we appreciate everybody being here live with us on YouTube. Find your way out. If you haven't hit that like button yet, please do so, and subscribe if you're new. Make sure you follow Jez on Twitter. Thanks to everybody who are going to watch this later on iTunes and Google Play. You got anything left to say, Jez, before we get out of here?
Be nice to each other, you know.
And you have a prediction article coming out, right?
I have an Xbox. Yeah, I have a prediction article. It's not that good though. Just watch Rand's video instead.
No, my videos are horrible. You don't want to listen to me. But yeah, we'll be back next Wednesday for another show. That's if none of us are sick. Had a great time, and we'll see you next week. Have a good one, guys.